Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hart in New York show. You know, today is a show that is inspiring, troubling, and um, incredible to believe that it's going on in our world today. And it will be an inspiring show because there are people out there that see this and want to take action for it. But let me give you a little history behind my guest here. Okay, she is the daughter of our good friends, Mary and Mark, and she is also the godmother, and I'm the godfather of my best friend Jimmy Giordano, wife also Betsy, baby, Anna. I tell you, we love you, and we wish you both were here too. And so we're very happy about having her here today because we've known her family for over 50 years. But now Alexandra has become involved and interested in doing something that is beyond my imagination or anybody's imagination out there because we just cannot believe that this goes on in our world today. And when we have a special person like this who wants to stand up and make it awareness about it, and that's what she's doing today. Because the more we come and be aware of this situation, what we're going to do is try and work together and correct it and stop having these people get hurt. And that's what Anchor Alley, as you can see in the back, Anchor Alley is all about. But most importantly, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction, Peter. I am Alexandra. I have recently started this platform called Anchor Alley, which is an awareness and advocate group that its mission is to increase awareness regarding human trafficking.
Some time ago, she came, we were over by her where she lives, okay, on Staten Island with Mr. G, and we wish you were here. We miss you, Mr. G. We wish you were here. I wanted to do a whole show for you but surprise you that we were going to do it. But anyway, next time. But the thing is, we heard that she was involved in getting this started. And boom, there goes the big light bulb because this is what my wife Angela has been interested in trying to correct this human trafficking of kids. And here we come across someone very special to us, Alexandra, who now wants to start people getting more awareness and is taking action for it. And that's what she does. And she does such a good job at doing it. But we're at the genesis part of this, right? We're at the genesis part.
Yes.
But now, many people are not aware of this, and you're doing your part to make them aware. But how and what motivated you to get started in something like this?
Well, so actually, when I was probably about, I might have been 11, my sister, my older sister, Nicole, she would very much liked to watch Lifetime movies. And at the time, there was a Lifetime movie called Human Trafficking. And she had me watch it at the age of 11. And it is something that stuck with me for a very long time. And recently, I came across many foundations, in particular, Tim Tebow's foundation. I am a defender on his rescue team. And he is very inspiring. I was not aware of how extensive this issue has become, to even learn how much of it is happening in pretty much our own backyards.
And that is so amazing in our own backyard. But the thing is, I believe God Almighty instilled this in her heart to start doing something about it. It's really it's interesting how something like that gets started. How why do you have a desire to do it? It's almost like we have her parents in the green room today watching the show, and also my good friend Bernard that I've known as long as I've known Jimmy for over 50 years right now, and he became to me one of the top cops in New York City, and he's one of the nicest guys to me. I wish he was commissioner, but anyway, you might have some of his blood in you too, along with Mark and Mary. I mean, these are special people to me, and this is the product of them. You're something.
Yes, and thank you, Peter. And I very much could coincide with that. As you mentioned, my grandfather earlier, he is also a retired NYPD officer. That cautious awareness and being alert and staying safe has been instilled in me, my sister, my cousins, since as long as I can remember.
And that is so true because, well, I mean, like I said, for over 50 years right now with her family, I have seen the goodness in these people. Okay, and it is really something I'm blessed, I'm honored to be a part of, because these people will always be there to help you. They'll always be there for you, and that's what I've experienced with her family, and I consider them my family also. And this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Now, this is instilled in her heart to pass this on. And that's a beautiful thing, because I want to ask you, Alexandra, how can this evil be stopped?
That is it's a very, very dark evil. It will take an army, if that even can say what it'll take. But I strongly believe if I could just help one more be rescued, that is enough. Just one more. We could get into numbers, Peter. You know, there's millions and millions of children, underage children, being tormented right now as we sit here and have this interview. There's child exploitation transferred on the internet. 750 pieces of child sexual abuse material per minute being transported across the internet. So when I say it takes an army, it really does take an army.
And I find it so interesting, that being transported over the internet. How are they doing something like that?
They had developed their own platforms, the dark web. They just, I don't know how they think. I can't relate to the way they think.
So you would think that we need stronger regulation, right?
That is 100% the number one thing that we need is stronger legislation.
Legislation, okay.
Yes.
Awareness.
Yes.
Awareness.
And that's number two.
And that's what you're doing. Now, before we go a little bit further here, I want you to explain a litting bit how you came up with what I'm pointing to. Is explain to them what that's all about.
Yeah, sure. So I came up with the Anchor Alley. The anchor is a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of steadfastness and holding down something. So Anchor Alley is holding the fight until the tide turns, until legislation reforms around human trafficking, until every victim caught in the chains of human trafficking right now is free.
I'm looking at the handcuffs, okay, the shackles actually, and along with the shackles, you have a dollar sign, which explains the reason behind all this going on. It's all comes down to money.
Yes.
It all comes down to money, and
Yes.
they coerce these children or whatever or adults or whatever into human trafficking, and they coerce that, and it all comes down to the dollar, and that's what's horrifying. So we got to work on legislation to stop this. But what is legislation? How are they going to come in with more officers covering the border? You talk about technology is advancing faster than we can every day. Now, how can also technology play a role in this?
So, great question, Peter. As far as legislation, we need a task force designated to human trafficking, solely to human trafficking. There's several other countries that have developed task forces designated to human trafficking, and the results have proven that it can be combated, and so many people that are suffering right now can be liberated.
Now, that's really something. They can be liberated. The shackles will come off. And what do you think is the next thing we could do after that? Because these people are gonna, the ones that have gone through the human trafficking, they're gonna suffer mental damage beyond what I could ever imagine. So I would think that Anchor Alley is not only exposing this, but you're also going to be a part of the solution. Have you thought of many ways that you're going to jump in and say, this is what we could do, this is what we should do once we slow down and stop this terrible thing that's going on?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. As far as liberating, that is absolutely correct, Peter, that, we could never possibly fathom what these people are experiencing. And what has shown to be an effective way of handling victims that have been rescued is by placing them in something called safe homes.
Safe homes.
Safe homes.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
That way they can get the care they need, the psychological need, along with the physical. I mean, and we're talking about also food and clothing. But that is an excellent solution for this.
Yes. And the safe homes, of course, have to be in a very protected area. These victims are being rescued from very, 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 very dangerous people. Their locations are nowhere to be found. Nobody knows where they are. We do have some in here in the U.S., nowhere near enough.
Of safe homes.
Yes.
Okay.
To house just those who have been rescued as of now, let alone the ones that we will rescue moving forward.
That is incredible. And you're saying once it comes across our border, this trafficking, which is happening today, right now, we need to stop that.
Yes.
And so what you're saying is awareness, change of legislation. Obviously, the borders are not, they're open, so you get all this happening, right?
Yes, that certainly does contribute to it. However,
Not all of it. So what you're saying, it's also, we're talking about the internet. A lot is happening via the internet now.
yes, and human trafficking is something I always felt very strong about. But it wasn't until I learned that the United States is the number one leading country of human trafficking activity.
Oh, my goodness.
And it is such a common myth that people believe it only happens in foreign countries. It doesn't happen in America. And it's a taboo subject. People don't want to believe it. People don't want to talk about it. It's easier to believe that we're safe, we're free, we're protected. The reality is the U.S. is the number one leading country with human trafficking activity.
I did not know that.
It's a $150 billion industry in this country alone.
$150 billion industry. And how many lives does that add up to coming in, being trafficked? I wonder. Thousands.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that-
oh,
I just can't believe that we're not doing enough for this.
there is actually, as of today, over 50,000 children who are being seen on this abuse material on the internet who have not been identified yet.
Not been identified.
That
Meaning,
is, they are unknown. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody can locate their parents. Nobody knows their name.
nothing. Not where they came from. No identity whatsoever.
No identity whatsoever. That is just
And where do they? Pardon me for asking
No,
such
of
a
course.
crazy question. Where do they find them? In foreign countries, and where?
so there's a lot of ways a person could be trafficked. The traffickers, of course, pinpoint vulnerable populations. They coerce people. A lot of fake promises lead to being trafficked. And actually,
Meaning the promises, meaning they'll tell them, we're going to have a better way of life for you. Here's some money. Let's get going. And before they know it, they're trapped. They're in the shackles.
absolutely,
That's how it.
absolutely.
So they're being coerced to a better way of living, offered some money, and they're being actually kidnapped and turning into a slave.
Absolutely. That is what they are.
And the United States is number one in that.
Number one leading country.
So, with all this going on, but before I go to the next step, I just, I know people are interested, it's a concern. What is the process? All right, let's say with both the internet and with the borders, what's the process? How does it go from start to finish?
So as far as the internet, of course, all of these social media platforms, teens who are not being taught how to safely use them, these traffickers are using these platforms to target. They know the words to say. They know how to get these teens, children, and this doesn't just encompass underage people. There really is no statistic, actually, that more of one thing than another. Men and women, girls and boys, and they are manipulated. They are manipulated with the right words. It could be a job offer. It can be like you said, an offer of money for, doing a favor for me. A lot of these people that are being manipulated are coming from vulnerable populations. So they get that little bit of attention, and it makes it much, much easier to target.
That's something. That's something. May I call you Alex?
Of course.
It's sometimes it's easier.
Yes.
Sorry, I mean Alexandra. That's a beautiful name, but
Thank you.
I love saying Alex. I've been saying Alex since she was like right here until we were
Alex works.
there holding Anna in our arms
Yes.
at the baptism. It was anyway. Uh, this is so this is so disturbing to me, and that's why when we heard that Alex was interested in getting something started to make people more aware, we caught right on it because Angela, my wife, she's been talking about this for years, that she's really wants to do whatever she can to help stop this from happening to these poor people, children, adults, whatever the case may be. They're coming across with lies, and it's all because of money. And then they're getting hooked on drugs and booze and alcohol, and that's even another thing on top of all this garbage that's going on. And we got to do something. Enough people got to stand up like Alex does and do something and get something going and rolling. And this is what we appreciate. And I figured, well, listen, let's start getting this out there on YouTube and all the 5 boroughs in New York City, and that's what we're doing today. Now, coming to the end of the show, I'd like to just go over, a few key points. One is what Alex is going to say that could, how can individuals contribute to this fight of human trafficking in their societies? Because, like you said, it's nationwide. It's all over. U.S. is #1 in this, which I did not know. So we're talking about practically, could be every state in America.
It is every state. In America.
Every state in America. Now, how can each state do their part and get started in doing something about this?
That's another great question, Peter. Thank you. One thing each state can do is collaborate together, because a lot of states right now have very strong laws regarding this, and a lot of states do not. Another thing, educate. It is happening so much. It is important for parents, teachers, doctors, kids at all ages to learn safety protocols depending on their age level. It's a taboo subject, I understand that. However, without awareness, this problem, this evil, this darkness will see no light. We need to stand up. We need to send letters to our local politicians. There's many platforms on the internet right now that you can go on and just sign your name and send a letter to your local politicians.
When you're saying the platforms on the internet that they can go on and sign up, well, what are they looking for that they can just go online and sign up? Which ones?
So actually, I actually have an Instagram, Anchor Alley, that has a link to sign one of the many letters to your state's politicians about strengthening legislation on human trafficking.
Big thing. That's on Instagram, Anchor Alley. Go. She has the forms. Listen, we got to keep this simple and do it. Okay, we can't make this complicated. It's a very simple thing, but it's a strong subject for human life right here. And get him here and give him the help. What kind of law, Alex, that you're talking about the people need to focus on?
The law, well, right now, there really is no legislation that is targeted directly towards human trafficking. Right now, the most recent letters that have been being signed to local politicians are stating the importance of developing a task force, multiple task forces per state in order to combat this issue. We don't have the law enforcement trained on this matter. We don't have them equipped with the technology to track down this evil happening every second on the internet. And with technology being so advanced and so easily advanced every day and modernized, there's just no reason why we can't start with that.
Excellent, excellent. That's what we need to hear. Go on her Instagram, Anchor Alley, right?
Anchor
on Anchor
Alley.
Alley. Get the form, get started, be a part of the solution. It's such a blessing to have her on this show. I'm going to have her mother and father and Bernard come up and say hi to everybody, and then that's it. Come on up. Come on up. They're in the studio. These people have been special to me for 50 years. Right now, I'm here. We got the family right behind me. Mary and Mark, father and mother, and my good friend Bernard. Bernard's our cousin, my beloved brother. So there. And they are special. They are special. The product, right here. We all thank you for listening. Take action. Go to our Instagram. We'll check in with you next time. God bless.
Okay, great show, guys. Okay, we'll see you.